hello, or I don't know what to say. It's like 10:30 at night, and I don't know that I've ever put together a live at 10:30 at night. So I'm just gonna wait to see if anyone comes on here at all. If you are catching me on the replay, if Google allows you to catch me on the replay, guys, um, and I hope they don't mind me mentioning. I'm kind of in a battle with Google right now, guys. If I dare say, I'm in a huge battle with Google. Okay, so they're not playing fair with me right now. So I do hope that they will allow me to stay on these YouTube streets. I'm just one of those people that if you do something to me, I can't fight. I can't fight with my hands, my fists. I'm not. I actually do a really good punch because I've taken kickboxing and I've taken some self defense classes. So I have a really good punch. I don't like to fight, and I never fought in high school. None of those. It just wasn't a part of my lifestyle. My family expected much more of me, so we didn't do that. We had to go to college. In fact, we didn't really know that people did not go to college, okay? We didn't know people could quit high school at 16. We just thought, okay, you're going to college, and that's what happened after high school. So I just, however, I've learned I do have some strength. I do prefer the civil way. I prefer to be civil. And I prefer to, fight it out in court. Okay, let's fight it out in court, and hopefully I have everything together and that I win, because I don't like when people do things to me, guys. I don't like when people do certain things to me. So I hope that Google will allow this video to be played. I hope that they will be fair with my videos moving forward. I want to come out here though and talk to you about Love and Marriage Huntsville. And I didn't even really get to title this because when you come on live like this, you don't really get to title it. And I had to kind of throw together an intro. Like I said, I know that it's right after the show and it's like, 10:30 at night, Eastern time anyway. So I just want to see if someone else is going to come on, just see how many people I can get on here before I start going. People normally don't expect me to come on this hour. If not, then I'll just sit here and talk to myself until you all can catch it in the replay, okay? I'm going to go ahead though. I think I'm going to title this Love and Marriage Huntsville Full of Ish, okay? And Marsau is sexy, okay? And we'll get into that. It starts out with the couples. They are in their, what do you call those rooms? Oh my goodness. I cannot even think of the rooms. The room, I call them the monologue rooms, but some people call them the other room, but I'll go ahead and call it the monologue room. So the reason I call this Love and Marriage Huntsville Full of Ish is because Maurice is full of ish. And I love attorneys, but sometimes they say things that just sound creme de la creme, but it's really not creme de la creme, okay? And when he comes on and he says that what would really make this show great or special is if Mel and Martell got back together. So that's why I call this title Love and Marriage Huntsville Full of Ish, okay? And we all know what the ish is, okay? What makes Maurice think that things would be really great if Mel and Martell got back together? That would be a travesty for Mel. That would be a travesty for Mel. Where is his head? Was he just saying that for the show? Was he saying it to get attention? I hope he really doesn't mean it, because that's not true. He's lost his mind if he thinks it's true. And Kimmie should have hit him in the head for saying that. I mean, so if that's the case, Maurice, things that would really make this really great is if you and Kiawah got back together. Okay? So let's do that one. Okay? No one out here wants to see Mel and Martell back together. We do not want to see that. Martell, allegedly, and in my humble opinion, is a sociopath. Let's keep it real. Even some of the scenes that they are going to be airing in the next couple of episodes, he looks real crazy. He looks real crazy. And even in this scene, the conversation he had with Destiny, and I'm going to get to that shortly, but let's move forward. So Martell is in his confessional. That's what the room is called, confessional. I have to remember that. I've been calling it monologues. And I would remember it whenever Martell is doing his confessional, right? I would remember the word confessional. He's doing his confessional, and he says that he needs 10 other dates or women or something like that in his life. And I want to know, what other 10 mature, classy women of quality are going to be with Martell? After seeing the way he treated his wife, and even last season calling his wife the WHORE word, okay? What other women of maturity, academia, quality are going to be with Martell? Listen, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'll bet anybody, just give me a number, 0. Okay, because look at Ariane. Ariane ain't none of that when it comes to academia, quality, maturity. She has none of that. And I hope that Mel never, ever responds to Ariane. Please leave her out there on a limb to hang dry, okay? She is one of the most immature people for a woman of her age. You get with a man, you know he's married when you get with him, and then you want to go around criticizing the wife? It would be different if you knew nothing, if he lied to you and you were out there in the cold and you found out haphazardly and you had already fallen in love with him and didn't even know he was married, but you knew he was married. You knew what you were getting going into that relationship. And you want to come out here on social media and try to entice his wife into a debate with you. Y'all, if Melody ever gets into a debate publicly with that girl, I'm done with Melody, for real, because that's not the picture that I have of Melody in my mind. So, if anyone is here, and I see we have a few people, you can get in the chat, make some comments about what you think of this commentary. I'm about to move forward. It should not last long. This is Love and Marriage Huntsville, and this vlog is called Vlog Media Breeze, as you can see in the lower left-hand corner. So if you would, please click the thumbs up button and subscribe if you have not subscribed, and click the notification bell so you can get these notifications when you come on. So let's see. What I liked about tonight is they were showing the greenery, and most of Alabama, quite like most of North Carolina, is country. We have very few big cities, although I dare say North Carolina has more larger cities than Alabama. But we're very southern states, not as southern as Alabama, but we're North Carolina, so we're kind of borderline, north because we're right beside Virginia, of course, but it's um, it's still very country and greenery and beautiful. So when they were showing the scenes, whenever the camera zoomed out and let us see an aerial view of the trees, and then it showed Maurice and uh, and Chris, and I didn't really get to see it because I was in and out, quite frankly. But Maurice and Marsau and some other gentlemen there, I guess, on the property where they're thinking of building, you know, their their estate, and it was muddy. And North Carolina gets muddy. We have red mud though. It's called clay. It's clay. It's red mud. A lot of people come here and they're like, I've never seen red mud. We have red mud, you guys, especially in the country, close to the mountains and the hills where I grew up. That yeah, it's mud. It's red mud. Um, so I like that scenery though. I think I like even whenever Bravo does it, whenever they pan out and they show an aerial view of the city and the nature, or either what the city is made of, or wherever they're filming, that kind of gives you a visual perspective on where, of where these people are from. So I like that. And I'm going to say this to you, Marsau is very sexy. I was having this conversation with another YouTuber, and she thinks he's sexy too. Now, I looked at him tonight. He's developed a belly. So that ain't too sexy, okay? In the past, I liked it. He's very, I think I've always thought Marsau was sexy. He's good looking. He's a very handsome man. I do not always like the authority that he puts over Tisha. I don't like that, even though Tisha is no longer one of my favorites at all. At all. Melody is definitely my favorite. Uh, but I don't like, nonetheless, I don't like whenever he says certain things to her or makes her feel a certain way, because that woman is all in. She is not going to leave that man. She's not going to leave that sexy man. She thinks he's sexy too. Okay. He's got to get rid of that belly though. He's been eating. He opened up that cigar bar and I guess he's tasting all the food. And so I love the scenes. I wanted to say that. So they go to the scene where Mel and Destiny are at Destiny's home, and they are seated and they have this beautiful glass of wine. So what I did at that scene, I went and poured me a glass of wine. I said, I gotta have a glass of wine if they're having a glass of wine. So if you hear my tongue tripping over itself, you guys, because I don't drink wine as much as I used to. Therefore, when I do drink one glass, I'm out like a light, for real. I am out like a light. But I mean, are any of us surprised that Destiny and LeBeric are divorced? After last season, they had a scene where Destiny and LeBeric were in the same location and they didn't even show them together. They didn't even show them together. So I knew right then and there something was wrong. So it did not surprise me that they were divorced. However, it did break my heart. It did break my heart. I don't know why she married him in the first place, because in their first season, when they were having dinner with Mel and Martell, the conversation, just the continuity of the conversation was just very off. She didn't want to take on his last name. They were arguing about something else. And someone somewhere along the lines in that season brought up another woman, just vaguely. And then the next thing you know, they're getting married and she's pregnant. They're having a baby. So I digress on that. I'm very sad about it because I don't think any woman marries a man that she doesn't love and want to be with. For me, I'm always feeling bad for the woman. Additionally, just on the side, you guys, I heard, because I know some people in Atlanta who are from Huntsville, and they know these people. So I heard that LB had been cheating on her, even even as they were getting married. I digress, and that's allegedly, okay? I'm gonna say allegedly. But Huntsville's not small, not big at all by any means. And years ago, whenever we lived in Atlanta, we had neighbors who were from Huntsville, Alabama. They had just gotten married and moved across the street. So I know some people from Huntsville. I digress on that one. I want to go on and move forward because we go to the scene where I guess Tisha is in this retail shop. Her and her sister are seated on a blue couch. Is that her sister? I never could get that because I was in and out and back and forth. So I don't know if that was her sister, but her name was Kiki. Hi, Renita. Hi, Renita. How are you? Thank you for coming in tonight. Wish I could give you a prize. So when I get 1,000 views, I'm going to give out some prizes. Whenever I monetize, I'm definitely giving out some prizes. So was that Tisha's sister tonight? Does anyone know? If you do, get down in the chats and let me know. She looked like Tisha's mother. Kiki looked like Tisha's mother. Anyway, I felt like that Tisha brought on her sister, or brought this person, Kiki, on, as well as the gentleman. I think she brought them on because of the way last season ended with, her and Mel being torn, and also with her and Kimmie being slightly torn. And I think Tisha needed someone to film with. So she brought in some additional family members. That's what I think. Now, let's see here. She's sitting there with her sister on the couch, and they're talking about Kimmie. And I missed a lot of that conversation. Like I said, I was in and out. So I'm going to move on to the next. Kimmie brings Tisha's husband, Marsau, or Marsau. I have to get it. I think it's Marsau. She brings to Marsau lunch, a healthy lunch. Her and Kimmie and Marsau have made this deal that she's going to bring Marsau lunch because Kimmie was busy and wanted to make sure that he did eat healthy and wouldn't go out to any fast food restaurants. Which, judging from his belly, he's been doing a little more than eating healthy. So how is it that Kimmie brings Tisha's husband lunch, yet she and Tisha are not speaking? Help me figure that out. Make that make sense for me. If I'm not speaking to you, I'm certainly not going to be carrying your husband lunch. Your husband can get his lunch the best way he knows how, But then again, they are Southern, like me, they're family. So they're probably figuring eventually they're going to work it out. And also Kimmie's probably, figuring, hey, that's Maurice's brother, could be that. And a lot of people think Tisha is annoying, Renita. A lot of people do think she's annoying. So I'm going to move forward. So Kimmie, when she's talking to Kiki, she blames, Tisha, when she's talking to Kimmie, she blames everything on, when she's talking to Kiki, she blames everything on Kimmie. Okay? And Tisha seems to only want to move forward. She tells her sister she wants to move forward at this point. Kimmie was trying to move forward with you last season. Tisha, you only want to move forward when it benefits you. You don't want to move forward whenever you need to make a deal. I don't even know how you're going to be in real estate because you're going to have to learn to make some deals, hon. Okay? How are you in real estate or wanting to be in real estate and you can't even compromise? That is just, grow up. Grow up. And you're working on your master's in that scene anyway. And as we see toward the end, you're about to graduate and you're still having phonetic issues. As a grown woman, you're having issues with phonetics. You called quarantine, the quarantine. I'm going, what is a quarantine? What is a quarantine? It's quarantine with a Q. Q-U-A, quarantine, okay? Not C-O-R-A, quarantine. I was just like, how do you have two masters and you're still having issues with phonetics? They have courses in college, you guys. There are courses called, or at least when I was in college, they had voice diction, in which many journalists took that course. It's voice diction. And it helps a lot with phonetics. And you have to be willing to accept criticism on your phonetics. And sometimes when I'm listening to journalists on TV, I can hear that they have really worked on their voice diction. Like, for example, CNN has this new commentator, or not, new reporter, new journalist, who is African American. She normally is in the field. And when I hear her speak, I can tell she has worked very hard on her voice diction, that she's come through some challenges. And Barbara Walters is another one that I saw that with as well. And then I learned that Barbara Walters actually did have phonetic issues. She said that she had a lisp, or she spoke with a lisp or something like that. And you would never know that if you didn't, go through that academic process of, journalism. But anyway, I'm going to move forward. We have Martell and Destiny. Martell goes to Destiny's store. He has some products that she wants him to sell, but he comes into her store and he doesn't have the paperwork. Whenever you deliver products to a store, you have invoices, you have sheets that you give to the store. He has none of that. He just comes in with a box of stuff that he wants her to sell. And she's asking him for the paperwork, and he's pushing it off on her, you guys. Look at this man, okay? If I don't know, is he doing this for the show, or is he really this way? Because what he is doing to her is the way he handled his marriage. He pushes his agenda off on you. You have to do whatever he wants you to do. She's standing there telling him face to face, I need your paperwork. He, instead of trying to see about getting the paperwork, he is continuously unloading the box there in her store. Instead of going backwards, saying, you know what, you're right, let me put this stuff back in the box and I'll come back with the paperwork. He tells her to shush or something. He wants her to quieten down, okay? This is who this man is, you guys. This is sociopathic behavior. Look it up. A lot of people, whenever they're talking about, this reminds me, when they're talking about all about the T avatar, they say she's a narcissist. She is not a narcissist. There are distinct, definitive words that describe a narcissist and for her, allegedly, and in my humble opinion, a psychopath. So she's more on the psychopath end. She's not a narcissist. When you look at her behaviors and you go study the books on psychopaths and narcissists, they're not the same thing, but there are people who are uneducated and they love to intermingle terms. Once they hear a term that's been put out there and it's been assigned to just a small piece of a personality, they apply it to everything that they see that way. And that is not the case. So I digress on that, but Martell definitely has a pathology about him that is socio, okay? So he also goes on, they're having a conversation, and they have a conversation about something that transitions into Destiny saying to him, listen, she said something to the effect that you had to really make time for two different people, meaning Mel and Arion. She made something of that effect, and his immediate response to her was it lacks so much grace and empathy for what she was going through in her divorce. He goes back and tells her, no wonder you're getting a divorce. So she's getting a divorce because she brings up an issue that you had, that you caused in your divorce. So now you got to say she's getting a divorce because she's calling you on the carpet for something. Sociopathic behavior, guys. I cannot take Martell. Listen, they really need to show Martell in therapy on television, and we want to see a whole season of him doing nothing but in therapy. He needs to be seated in therapy, because that first therapist, even though he was great, I think that Martell used that sociopathic behavior to convince that therapist that he was listening to him, and he was not listening. Okay, so what's next? They get ready to go to Tisha. Is it Tisha or Tisha? I can never, these Tishas and Kishas and Tishas and Ishas. I mean, what is it? They're getting ready to go to her celebration party. Okay. And they show her father, Horace. I had an uncle Horace when I was a little girl, so I know Horace. I know that name. They used to call him Red because he was so high yellow that he was red. So instead of Horace, they called him Red. But anyway, that was Letitia's father, Horace. And, like I said, Tisha just had her brother. They also show her brother. And I'm thinking Kiki is her sister because Kiki looks just like her mother. For some reason, I was thinking that Tisha was an only child. But if this is her brother and her sister, I'm confused somewhere. Tisha only wants to move forward with people whenever it is to her benefit or to something that she wants. So she gets out of her vehicle and we see Marsau has a gift for her. He's planned her a party, so everyone is there. Everyone that's a part of the cast is there. Then her brother and sister also. And she he buys her a watch. I didn't really get to see what type of watch it was, but he gets her a watch as her gift. And let's see here. See where I got to. I have notes here, you guys. Oh, when Marsau gives her gift, her watch, she thanks him for pushing her to be her best. She thanks Marsau for pushing her to be her best. And the first thing that came to my mind was, when has Marsau ever pushed you to be your best? He has tried to get you to stay home to keep you from moving forward, to get your degrees, to get into the real estate or whatever it is that you were trying to do. So she's delusional. I'm like, thank him, of course, for the gift, but for pushing you to be your best. Maybe she was thinking that the more he pushed her away from it, the more she wanted it. maybe it's kind of reverse psychology type of deal. So let's see here. So she thanks him, then the cameras go over to everyone, enjoying themselves at her party. And it moves into Marsau is having a conversation with some gentleman. I didn't know who that was. I guess that was part of Tisha's family as well. And Tisha's brother and sister are there. Did you guys notice that every time Tisha's brother and sister got ready to speak, the cameras and the audio cut them off? It appeared as though they were trying very hard to be in the scene, because at one point her brother goes, man, that's my sister. And I didn't even know what he was talking about. I was like, where, in what context was he saying that in? Because the cameras did not show the whole conversation. But I did hear him say, well, man, that's my sister. And then he got cut off. And then the Kiki tried to say something, and then she got cut off. And it was almost as if they were trying to be a part of it, of some scene, and the editing just would not allow it. So after that, Tisha and Kimmie go and they have a discussion, and Kimmie makes it a point to tell Tisha that she loves her. And did you see Tisha's response to that? She can't even accept someone telling her that they love her. If I was Kimmie, I would have went and talked to Mel and left that girl alone. I really would have. I would have just gone and talked to Mel, enjoyed myself with Mel, and let Kimmie go do her thing with Kiki and her brother and whatever else that she had planned for this season. Because for her to, when someone tells me they love me, as an adult, that's a big deal. That's a heartwarming thing to me. And for Tisha to just stand there and try to make excuses and make Kimmie feel as though she needed to do more than love her. Kimmie is not your mother. So the fact that she in her confessional, she says that she grew up, her mother didn't tell her she loved her, but she showed her she loved her. So now she needs someone to tell her she loves her. Tisha, grow up. Grow the F up, for real, girl. Grow up. No one has to deal with you. No one has to. And you're acting like everyone owes you something. When people can't come to your terms, the whole world must fall down. And so when she started crying, I'm sorry, I did not feel anything for that. I lacked empathy in that myself. So Kimmie brings up Kiawah for some reason. Oh, because when people were saying those things about Kiawah, or I guess Tisha, actually, last season Tisha did say something about Kiawah. She said that she believed there was some overlapping. Well, we all do, most of us, some of us. Some people don't believe there was overlapping. I do. I'm a woman of a particular age. I've seen a lot in other marriages, and I can tell when things are happening. There was some overlapping, I believe. And Kimmie doesn't want to admit it because she likes to put on a show as though she's perfect. And you ain't perfect, honey. There was overlapping. I think she liked the D. She liked that big D, and she took it. She overlapped with it, and that was that. Okay, and so that's that. That's the end. It looks like it's going to be another exciting season, guys. Hold on. There's a part even in the upcoming episodes where Melody tries to console Martell, and Martell pushes her away and says something to her, very hateful like. Melody needs to move on completely. I know she loved him for a long time, and it's hard when you've loved someone for so many years, no matter what happens to them, because you know them so well, and you know their heart, you know their feelings, and if you see them hurt, you do want to console them. So I do get that with her. I just think I wouldn't even sit beside him. I'd just be like, I'm not going to stand beside him. I'm not going to stand beside him. But anyway, you guys, that is it for Love and Marriage. Would you believe I've been working all day trying to connect my Zoom to my YouTube Live, and in my Zoom it doesn't have the information that I need. So I'm waiting to hear back from them because there is a step in the process where I'm supposed to click on YouTube and it's supposed to connect that way. And it doesn't have that. It doesn't have the Facebook, YouTube, and the other one that it's supposed to have under my administrative part. So that kind of got me off today. I was like, where is that thing? It's supposed to be here. You know, I use it when I'm leading meetings at work. So it's just like, okay. Anyway, guys, do you all have anything that you want to say in the chat about this? Okay. Yeah, you know what, Renita? You said Marsau smokes too much. He does need a tailor, and he does smoke too much. You're right, because you can tell around his lips. He does need to stop with the smoking. But I do think he's a very sexy man. I don't like the way he does his wife. And you're right, the smoking needs to stop. And this season, he needs to get rid of the belly, or he's going to be on, one of those medicines that he's not going to want to be on, So that's all, guys. That's all I have. If anyone comes in on the replay, as always, I ask that you give me a thumbs up, subscribe, click the notification bell. If you guys are not getting my notifications, please let me know. Let me know somehow. I have my email in my, if you Google Vlog Media Breeze, you'll see the community part or the about part, that section. My email is there, so you'll be able to email me and let me know whether or not you're getting my notifications. And it's a late night. I normally don't do this late at night, but someone suggested I do, and so I'm trying it. And you guys have a good evening, and many blessings to you, okay?